Alright, we are on the last part of lesson 2.8, and there's a couple terms I want to talk about quick, and then we will get into it. So quadratic model is the first one, and like, what is a quadratic model? So a quadratic model is just a quadratic function that represents a real data set. So, I mean, real life data set, but an example of data sets were the tables that we were just doing in the first part of the lesson. Those are data sets. So a quadratic function that represents a data set. And then what is a quadratic regression? It's a statistical method to make predictions on a given data set. So many big words. And remember that we did linear regression back in chapter 1. So then r squared, what does r squared mean? We had a little r before for linear regression. Now we're going to have an r squared. And that shows how well our quadratic function fits the data. And the closer r squared is to 1, is the better it will fit. So those are some technical terms I want you to write down. And then we'll look at question number 7. It says that the table below shows the cost of circular plastic wading pools based on the pool's diameter. Find a quadratic model for the cost of the pool given its diameter. Use the model to estimate the cost of the pool with a diameter of 8 feet. So first thing we need to do is to figure out what our model is before we can estimate the cost of that pool. Here is our data. Here's our data set, and then we're going to be doing this on a TI-84 graphing calculator. And if you do not have one, well, even if you do have one, I want you to write down the steps that we need to do that we needed. Wow! I want you to write down the steps that we need to do in order to solve this on a calculator. And then like solve the problem on your own too as well. And you're going to have to do another one on your own after this. Okay. So let's look at what our steps are. And step 1, just like with a linear regression, is going to be to enter our data into list 1 and list 2 on the graphing calculator. I'm going to go back here so I can see what my list 1 and list 2 are. And here's my graphing calculator. And list 1 and list 2, if you remember, you're going to go to stat and then edit. And when you click on that, you will know if they're empty or full. And mine are full right now because I went through and entered that data actually earlier. But let's say that you just had some random numbers in there. If you remember, you're going to go stat and then clear list. Press enter. And then you go second stat. And then you pick the list number that you want to clear. So let's say I want to clear 1. And you can only clear one list at a time. And then you press enter. And that list has been cleared, and I'll show you. Go to edit. See, look at that. I cleared my list 1. So now I'm going to re-enter all that. 4, 5. Okay, so I have my data re-entered. And now let's look at step 2. Use the quadratic regression feature to find the values of the function. Okay. So I'm going to use my quadratic, I can get out of here, quadratic regression, and I'm going to go to stat. I'm going to scroll over one on the top here to calc, and then I'm going to go down here to number 5, quadratic regression is what that means. Press enter, and then just press enter, 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 it's calculating. Here we go. So they give us this. In the form of y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Oh my god, that's a quadratic function. A is going to equal 2.4, b is going to be negative 21.6, and c is going to be 67.36. Let's go on to step 3 then, because we found the values of the function. Now we're going to enter that data found in step 2 into y1. Then we're going to view a graph and a table to verify that the model fits the data. So look back here. You need to write this down. You have to write down what your equation is. So you're going to plug 2 in for a. So 2.4x squared plus negative 21.6 b or x plus 67.7. And you're going to write all that down. And then you go to y1 over here, right here at the top left corner. And I put mine in there already again. But y1, and I'm going to type that equation in that I just found. And once I have that typed in, you can graph it. And I have mine at a funny window. You can change the window here. I'm going to change my minimum. Oh wait, I'm going to change my minimum of my X window to -1. See, it makes quite a bit of a difference. All right. So this is what you should have entered into your Y1. That is what I have entered into my Y1. And now I want to look at the table. So I'm going to go second table, second graph, so I can look at my table here. And step 4, we use the table. Okay, not quite there yet. Let's go back and look at our table. Does the data that we have here match our data set at the beginning? You notice that 4 lines up with 19.4. It's a little bit off for some reason. I might have entered a number wrong. But so those are pretty close. And so now I can go down to number 8, because our x value should be 8, and we're going to solve, we're going to use the table to find the function value at 8. So at 8, our function equals 48.2. What is that number, 48.2? Let's go back here. And 48.2 is going to be the cost of the pool with a diameter of 8 feet.